Hey, how you doing?
Hey, dude, fired up to have you.
Great to be in here.
Hey,
Great
it's
to be in here.
been about 3 weeks to
Yes.
get you locked in, but it's crazy time, man. Spring
Yes, it
sports coming in. I know my schedule with baseball. Your schedule stays busy, so yeah. Coach Tapp, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell me about kind of what you're doing.
My name's Coach Tapp, David Tapscott. I do a lot of strength and conditioning for the local athletes as well as abroad. I've got athletes in Memphis. I've got athletes in Arkansas. I've got athletes in Nashville, and I got athletes in Murray. I work a lot of the athletes, but what I try to do is to build the athlete the right way. Start from the ground up. Try to eliminate as many soft tissue issues as I can. Make sure that they're producing energy from the floor all the way through the head.
Yeah, I think when I was at Wren Lake, that was Driveline was really starting to come into play. It was really, I think it had been around for a little while, but it was just really starting to kind of become mainstream, I guess. And you saw a lot of young athletes starting to try to use those weighted balls and stuff like that. And we incorporated it towards the end. But you said something there that I think is really important about building it from the ground up. And I think I've mentioned that previously, but it's crucial, man. The velocity is only temporary if it's not built from a strong foundation. And,
Yes.
And I think with you, just in the conversations that I've had with you, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I know you do it the right way, and I see the guys that you're training.
I'm constantly studying. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly checking in with my mentors, and I've got a lot of mentors over the years that's helped me with a lot. And I'll tell you, somebody that's helped me a lot with hooking up with people and actually getting to talk to them is JT. Jamie Tinsley with PBR. He's really connected. He really does a good job, and he really cares about the athletes in these areas. But yes, and I've also got a 5-year contract with Hawkins Dynamics. I've got True Strength, and I've got Force Plates. What that allows me to do is take the guessing out, where it would take me 5 or 6 lessons to learn your body, to learn where you're losing energy, and to learn all that. Now I can tell how much force you're putting into the ground. I can tell how much force you got on your internal and external rotation of your shoulder. I can do the TY and eye test and tell how much force you're putting into the ground. And I can do it in and after you pitch and everything to be able to get a great background of where you could be losing energy. But at the same time, where is the soft tissue issues? Because I had an athlete that come to me and he's done something I've never seen, and you can tell me if you've ever seen this. He throws with so much force that he actually, underneath his scalp, broke a rib.
No, I've never seen
Yes.
that. I've never seen that.
That's the first time I've ever seen it.
That's pretty explosive.
And what happened is that we teach all these athletes, you got to be fast, got to be fast, got to be fast, got to be fast, got to be strong, got to be strong. So we're getting these athletes so strong, but we ain't teaching them how to decelerate.
Yeah.
What's the very last thing you do on a pitch?
Yeah.
You get your velocity up and energy up so much through the kinetic chain, and then when you get to the end, okay, now you got to decelerate all that.
Yeah.
And I think the issue is he had so much force coming through his legs that his upper body couldn't handle the force and the velocity.
Yeah.
So what it done was it broke one of his ribs.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
It's all motor, no brakes.
Yes.
It's like building a drag car.
And I
with no
trained
brakes.
this kid, and it was like when his dad come to me with it, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I said, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Because we could get his scalp to rise up, but we couldn't get it to set back down.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was the rib broke right underneath the scalp, so it wouldn't allow it to settle back down the way it's supposed to in deceleration. So he never could decelerate. Everything was acceleration with him.
Oh my God! I bet the pain was excruciating.
It was, but we did a lot of oxygen therapy with him. We did working with Orthopedic Institute and them.
Yeah.
And we got him back on there, and he's good to go now. But that was something I've never heard of.
Yeah. I guess it was maybe my senior year in college. I had something going on. I had instability in my scap, and it was manifesting in like posterior shoulder pain. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if that's what I got going on right now, but I think I'm either battling that or a strained rotator cuff. But it's to the point where I told my wife the other day, I'm like, I'm almost to the point where I need to go and get this seen about.
See, now here's the thing that I could do now. If you're an athlete that I've done pre-tested on with a TY and I and internal and external rotation and see if you got 90 or what your degrees is, both internal and external, I can go back, retest, look, and then I can say you're not producing as much force. So let's do this. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I got a pathway forward to try to alleviate the pain and try to get it to where it's not there. Then, if we can't, then that's when we go with the doctor's assistance.
Yeah. And see, I might need to come see you then. But seriously, it's been something that's ever since, I guess, probably last November, it's been kind of nagging me. And I had increased my workload where I was lifting about 5 or 6 days a week. And up until about a month ago, it was just nagging. Now it's to the point where I don't bench press anymore. Dumbbells for a while were okay. Now dumbbells are not okay. I can do. It's odd because I can do incline, I can do decline, but anything that's flat is tough.
Front side or backside?
Backside. Yeah. So I've got some things going on, but I'm old. So I think I'm trying to stay active, but every time I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, my shoulder's hurting today.
Here's where if we was in a gym situation and we was out there just messing around, I'd throw a baseball up and let you go up and grab it.
It would hurt.
And if it hurts to go up to grab it, usually that means it's a labrum on the backside.
Yeah.
Usually with us, we ego lift now because we're older.
Yeah.
And we want to keep that physique when we walk in. We want to see the players that we represent ourselves. Two, we want them to make it look like we still got that body. Yeah. We can still do that. Yeah. I pulled my groin real bad, and I bruised all the way to my ankle, all the way up to my chest, and all the way down the other leg. Because I was doing wickets. I was doing wickets, and I was telling them how far they get apart. And I was trying to teach the kids how to get their foot back underneath their hip and recycle it back. By the time I got there, it sounded like a shotgun.
Oh, no.
Jared Aldridge was in there with me, and I went down, and he's like, his eyes are just real big, and he's going to walk over there to me. And you know me, I had about 5 athletes in there. I popped up like nothing happened.
I'm good.
Over there. I'm good. And then I sat down and about cried after that. But no, that's what happens is we, with these athletes and with us, it's two totally different things. It's like you mentioned the weighted ball with Driveline. I love a lot of the programs that a bunch of different organizations is doing. But where we get in trouble with a lot of this is if you send me a video of one of your kids, all I'm doing is getting a video. Mm-hmm. It's hard from a video to be able to judge where the energy is being lost at. Yeah. So and that's the reason why when I do my online training that I go see these kids once or twice a month, because for one, I want to retest them to see if the program is making the progress that we need to make these kids advance to the next level. Yeah. For another thing is where is there some soft tissue issues that I can't pick up on this? Yeah. And that's the key, because I love a lot of, like, I'm more apt to Armored Heat because I can talk to him. Me and him text each other, me and him talk. He builds arm care programs for recovery, and he gives you all the strength and conditioning stuff with the arm care program. He teaches you how to build it the right way. And I get a lot of my stuff when it comes to arm care off of him. Yeah.
And I've talked about that with other coaches. At this point, I've had a few different, and I think that's our job, really. I think it's, to take things from other coaches and make it apply to our athletes. I think where you run into issues is when you start thinking that your way's the only way, and you're talking about ego lifting, ego coaching. You can't do that, and you've got to be open-minded. You've got to listen to other strategies, and that's I think I talked about this with Kent Wallace. The things that I'm teaching now aren't the same things that I was teaching, or at least I'm not teaching them the same way as I was when I was 16 and starting lessons. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The things evolve, the game evolves. You look back at pitching back then, it was not as dominant as what it is now. So you have to develop and you have to evolve as a hitter. And I think, as an instructor, as a coach, as a professional, in your field, you have to look at the game and adjust. And I think the best way to do that, honestly, is bringing in different coaches, hearing different ideas, and the things that I do, some of the things I do, you may not agree with, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, most of the time, we're telling the same things. Exactly. We just might be saying it a different way.
Exactly, and that's a great point. Is the ego coaching? I didn't start strength and conditioning. I didn't start the science behind strength and conditioning.
Right.
I learned from being the age that I am. I learned from your Charlie Francises, your Shanskys, all the guys back then that was creating a lot of the force, a lot of the velocity training, a lot of that. And so my ideas and my thought process is different than somebody coming up now that has the Billy Millers, the Zach Ducans, and all them that are bringing the new forefront training into the light.
Yeah.
But it's still, these back here is the same philosophies they have up here.
Right.
It just has new wording to it.
Right.
And that's like, we take stuff for granted too much. We have a lot of people within this area that are very highly educated.
Yeah.
And I made a comment the other day to one of the baseball players. I've got a couple of McCracken kids that come to me, and I'm like, I got a question. He said, what? I said, you're struggling in hitting, right? And he said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, you got a guy out there that almost coached a Triple Crown and almost had 3 or 4 MLB Players of the Year and all that, don't you? He said, who? I was like, Coach Grief. Yeah. I said, you got a gym right there. I said, he's out there working with your program.
Yeah.
And has anybody ever asked him to stay over after practice and hit?
Right.
I said, it's free. I said, if you go to his house, it costs. If you stay out there, it's free.
Yeah.
I said, he's volunteering his time to help y'all.
Yeah.
I said, why are you not using that?
Yeah. Ian Walters is out there right now, too.
Oh, yeah. I love Ian.
Yeah, Ian is, what a class act that kid
I worked with Ian when he was in high school.
Man, I had him on, and I've been trying to get him to
Washington County. I watched that.
Hey, for years. I saw him at Hoop Fest. Probably one of the last times that I saw him before he came on the podcast, I saw him at Hoop Fest. I'm like, hey, man, you still playing? He said, yes, sir. At that point, I think he was with the Wild Things or something. Yes. And I said, hey, off season, if you want to come work with some high school guys, come out to Marshall County. He's like, man.
Here's what people don't understand. When I train kids, if they bring me effort, they bring me work ethic, they bring me accountability, and they bring me heart, all I got to do is add accessories to them.
Yeah.
They've already got everything they need. Any athlete in last year, how many times has Mr. Baseball in Kentucky ever come across Beaver Dam?
Yeah. Not many.
I think that's the first time in this area that we've ever had a Mr. Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I worked with that kid ever since he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't give him nothing he wasn't born with. The only thing I done was put him in proper positions and gave him proper coaching to be able to let him exceed at what he's done.
Yeah.
And I've heard from Coach Grief, I've heard from all different, that kid has a chance to play Major League Baseball at high levels.
Yeah.
Because his hip rotation, his shoulder-hip connection is so unreal.
Yeah.
He could have been that one kid if he wanted to play both sides of the ball in college.
Yeah, I think so too.
But that shows you how good that kid was.
Yeah.
Because you've had a Finley that's come through here.
Yeah.
You've had Shumpert that's come through here. You've had Maney that's come through here. Keithy Jones. You've had so many remarkable athletes come through this area, but we've never had one of those.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, go ahead. Who are you talking about that was Mr. Kentucky?
Miller Green.
Yeah. Stud.
Yes.
Stud.
Excellent kid. I mean, the kids were, but he had the same thing Ian did.
Yeah.
He had heart. He had accountability. Everything. He had all the keys, what I call the 5 keys to success.
Yeah.
And he had all of them.
Yeah.
And that's what's unbelievable. Because I said it today. No matter if it's me and you coaching, me and you being in the professional, me and you doing what we do, accountability is what you see when you look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking in the mirror and seeing that accountability and seeing that person and in love with that person that you see, you need to stop and rethink what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking about Miller, man. When last year he went down, he had a hand injury or something his senior year, didn't he?
One of them boxing.
Yeah. And man, he came back with a vengeance, didn't he?
Yes,
I think he ended up hitting like 460 or something in high school. And I think he always came off from the other side of the field. He always came off like he was a humble kid, competitor, and I think talking about kids in this area, I feel like we're very blessed in this area to have a lot of good athletes.
Yes.
But you talking about how many times do they cross Beaver Dam? Not very often. I mean, the bigger schools. I think the year before that, the year before Miller, I can't remember who it was, but I know AJ Hacker was.
Year before that, wasn't it the kid pitching at Louisville right now, Bowling Green area?
I can't think of what his name is.
What's his name?
It'll probably hit you whenever we're done.
Yeah, it will. It always does.
Yeah, but I know AJ Hacker. What's crazy story about him? My first gig out of college was with Dugout Media or Baseball Youth, and AJ's dad was my boss, and I remember AJ was, man, he was probably 8 or 9. I mean, little bitty guy, and I was working with him, and his dad's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "I think he's got a chance," like he's 8, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got a good swing, and he ended up being I think Mr. Baseball for Kentucky, and I think he went to University of South Carolina, USC something, and then now he's at Moorhead finishing up. I think he's two-waying. He went to his first school as a pitcher only, I think, and now he's at Moorhead finishing up as a two-way guy. Or at least I see him taking BP on Facebook. So
yes,
so it's cool, man. It's just I think the bigger city kids get more love, and just kind of seeing, you talking about JT and those guys at PBR. I do think that they have made a conscious effort to evaluate and to publicize this area better than in years past. And I think a lot of it can be contributed to the fact that we have good athletes, but I think that they are doing a good job with coverage.
I think you'll get a lot better now because JT1 has Will in this area now, but also JT's the face now.
Yeah.
He's the face, and it's on the national level that they're doing it now. So he's went from the local area, this area, the Kentucky area. Now he's on a national level. So he's got a lot more publicity and a lot more arm length now to be able to reach other people.
Yeah.
And to reach bigger schools.
Yeah.
And to reach. But I think sometimes, just like with the organization that you've created, which is outstanding.
I appreciate that.
The thing that we need to get away from that I don't think happens as much in big cities is when I was growing up, my dad would tell me, "Here's this team, go try out for it. If you don't make it, we're just going to work harder."
Yeah.
Instead of going off and creating a team.
Yeah.
I think we've watered down,
without a doubt,
our athletes because we have 15 10U teams.
Yep.
And we don't have the best 10U on one team.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get back to say, hey, let's put the egos in the pocket. Let's get these kids together, and let's take to Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Let's take our 10 best out of the state of Kentucky in this area.
Yeah.
Let's show them what we have, because we can compete with Lexington, but you got to think. You have 5 best, 8 best over at Tillman. You have 5 best, 8 best over here at St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
5 best, 8 best over here at McCracken. 5 best, 8 best over here at Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Ballard. You have all them spread out.
Yeah.
Lexington, you see a lot of them go to one school.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Several years ago, Mel was a dominant. Then Trinity popped in.
Yeah.
And now St. X is popping in. So you see all these guys that are creating, and they're doing it when they're younger.
Yeah.
And I know everybody gets on the recruiting pathway and trail and all that. It's at the end of the day, it's like assumption with volleyball. If I'm looking at sending my daughter to a school for volleyball, I'm going to look at the assumption, and I'm going to start trying to get her in now.
Yeah.
They don't have to recruit. People come to them.
Yeah.
They have a 10-page, probably 50 people a page waiting list to get in that school.
Yeah.
St. X, Male, all them
Trinity.
are the same. Yes.
Yeah. Trinity was just, I saw PBR ranked them number 1 in the state of Kentucky. Lyon County's ranked 2. Did you see that?
Lyon County's got a pretty good returning staff coming back.
Well, I don't think they lost a whole lot.
No, they didn't.
But they've got, I want to say from the graphic I saw, it looked like they had 7 returning guys, I think, and then 2 notable underclassmen. I think with us, talking about high school, with us, we're returning several. I mean, we lost a few pretty big pieces, but we're returning a lot of experience. I think it's going to be pretty competitive this year.
It will be. It'll be the most competitive. And one thing about it is, y'all have been young for so long.
Yeah. And
about probably this year, next year, you're going to see y'all start going back to that dominant Marshall County that y'all used to be.
Yeah.
Because I remember
That's
Dax
the plan.
Mahan and all them.
Yeah, that's the plan. So speaking of the past here, this is what I was talking about. So I had Ian on.
Yes.
And so where did you go to high school?
St. Mary's.
Okay, so I was talking about the consolidation of McCracken County and that sort of stuff, and I made the comment that Reedland wasn't very good. And I said it was always Lone Oak and Heath. And, Reedland usually had a couple good guys. And I got some flack for it in the text messages. So I had a guy call me. And you remember the name Chris Clark?
Critter? Yes, I remember Critter.
So
he was
Eric
a ball
Clark.
player.
Yeah, so his brother, Eric Clark, was the Booster Club president for Marshall. He came in with me and he left last year when Gavin left. And he called me. He's like, dude, come on. He's like, Reedland used to be stacked. And so he's like rattling all these people off and stuff. I'm like, okay, I probably need to go back. So then I told him that you were coming on, and he's like, well, ask him about these guys. He'll remember them. So I told him, I was like, yeah, so I'll bring those guys up, because were they about your age?
No, they was a lot younger. I coached I coached with Jason Matlock and Ted Matlock on the Storm team. I coached Critter and all those, Chris Clark and all those. That team was, them kids was good.
Yeah.
Those kids was good.
Yeah. So Critter, I think, went to Wren Lake, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. And
he went to Wren Lake, and then he went on to, did he end up?
Delta State.
Delta State,
yeah,
yes.
Delta State,
yes.
which is a powerhouse.
Yes.
Division II powerhouse, and been a powerhouse for years. But yeah, so I don't know what the age difference is between me and him, but his legacy was still there at Wren Lake, because I heard stories about him, and
he was good.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool, man, when you hear about paths crossing in college, guys that came out of this area and then their paths cross it in college and stuff like that.
Best shortstop at that time, had him on that team, Ty Rogers. Played at Lyon County, ended up going and hitting that game-winning shot up there for Western in the NCAA tournament.
No kidding.
Yes, Ty Rogers was our shortstop.
Oh, that's cool. So, do you remember? So you had Chris Clark, Ty Rogers. Who are some other guys that you remember?
Copeland. Sean Copeland was on there. He didn't end up playing college, but he was a heck of a pitcher.
Yeah,
he's a closer for us. Matt Smith that ended up catching for Lone Oak.
Yeah.
Hamilton, Curtis Hamilton ended up playing football, and then go at Western. Then going could have had a chance playing NFL. That's a about the only ones I remember. But
So how
Lance Simmons from Heath was on there. He was a left-handed kid.
I wonder if he had a brother.
I don't think so. But
There was a Simmons kid that came through Heath. That's the only reason I thought.
he went through Heath.
Okay.
He ended up going to Shawnee or Wren Lake or one of those in pitching.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, man, when I was coming up through high school, and I've talked about this again. I've mentioned this before, but I didn't even know what junior college was. I had Coach Bach, who's about as old school as possible, but he didn't really talk to us about colleges and stuff. And at that point, I didn't really have anybody in my life that was pushing it. You know what I mean? So I didn't even know what Wren Lake was. And I remember the first kid, his name was Chase Carey. He was a lefty pitcher for us. He said he wanted to go to Wren Lake. And I'm like, what is Wren Lake? I was a freshman at that time. And so I think coming back and seeing how the junior college scene has grown here means a lot to me, because I push it, man. I'm not going to lie. I push the junior college route because I push opportunity. And I think there's a lot of kids around here that have the ability to go to these bigger schools, to go to Murray, to go to Western, to go to, bigger schools around here. But are they going to be able to make an impact right away? And I just think the physicality of it, man, a high school senior coming out and getting in the game right now, it's just not in their favor, And really, junior college isn't the way everything's changing. Junior college isn't going to be much different. I mean,
no.
I think it's important to know that you got to work your tail off regardless of the level. College baseball is a grind and it is tough. But when you go to a Division I school, even Division II schools, I was talking to my former coach already, who's actually going to come on at some point, and he was talking about how, I've got Thomas Bagby, who is a stud right now, and Kanan Dunn. I've got several juniors that are
yes.
great, and I was like, I got this kid, but I hadn't told you about him because I didn't figure you were even recruiting high school kids. He goes, nah, man. He said, I'm getting Division I kickbacks and portal guys now, and because he can,
yes.
and he can be competitive.
The game has changed.
Yeah, it's way different.
And what kids don't realize is back when I was playing, then you come along, and then a lot of these, we were more mentally stronger.
Yeah.
And that's like I was talking to my daughter and a young lady today that was in the gym working to get better in track. I told her that I have trouble coping with some of the situations that they deal with because I didn't deal with those situations. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't care if anybody liked me.
Yeah.
I had one aspect, and that was to get into college, and to get into college any way I could.
Yeah.
I knew I had to be a student first, and then I had to be an athlete, but my mindset was I didn't think about other stuff.
Yeah, it's never an option.
No,
yeah.
No, and that's like kids will come up, and I'll get in the batting cage every once in a while, and I'll take a couple of cuts, and they'll be like, "How you hit like that, coach?" I said, "I took 50 cuts in the morning off a tee. I took 50 cuts at night.
Yeah,
7 days a week.
Yeah,
for 15 or 16 years.
Yeah."
I said, and you was talking about old school. When I went to St. Mary's, people don't realize this. I stepped on the field, there was Eddie Hoss.
Yeah.
There was Chris and them's dad. There was the Roofs. I had 7, 8 MLB players, 3 or 4 scouts, and all of them was in there while we're practicing critiquing us.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Matt and Danny's dad, Eddie, when you come off the field, you're better than that, boy. What are you doing? Get your head out of your
Right.
butt and let's go.
Right.
And I mean, and you can't say nothing because both of them, and I just found out the other day, I didn't even know this. Danny is the head scouting director for the Washington.
Huh.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I didn't either.
For the Nationals. And I'm like, man, and Matt's high up. And I forgot what organization they told me he was high up in. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I mean, these are kids I played baseball with.
Yeah.
I was the only one that played junior college baseball out of that whole lineup that we had there. Everybody else was playing D1.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt's going to Notre Dame. I mean, you can name it. And I'm like, what have we lost? Why has the talent hasn't changed?
Yeah.
Miller Green was more talented than I was, but I had to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
If he worked as hard as I did and he worked hard, then there ain't no telling what that kid would have been.
Yeah. I think, man, athletes now have so much at their disposal. You know, I feel like, and you're older than I am, but, you know, we made the most of what we had. We didn't have hit tracks. Mm-mm. We didn't have Rapsodo. Mm-mm. We didn't even have radar guns, man. Like, they were there. I didn't have one.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think, you know, just talking about, like, for the Lake area kids that can come in and hit off that hit tracks anytime they want, that is a huge deal.
It is.
It's a huge deal because, you know, you're talking about establishing baselines and things like that. I can go in there right now and pull up Abigail's data from 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And she can track what that looks like and cross-reference that to the video and see and her size at that point. Like, that is great information that you can have. And, you know, you're talking about, like, the force plates and things like that. Man, that is stuff that you would have had to have gone to a lab to have gotten.
Yes.
And now it's at your gym, you know? Yes. And it's, I just think that I do think that it's taken for granted sometimes. Like, you know, it's there and that's what they're used to, and it's not necessarily something that they've never been without it.
And just like you said, and we was talking about coaching egos. Kid comes to me, he went to Kent Wallace. I call Kent Wallace and I say, hey, Kent, what's going on with this young man? He said his velocity, say, was 90 a couple months ago. It's dropped down. So I know where to start now.
Yeah.
T.O. sends me a guy. Hey, T.O., what was his exit velo at?
Yeah.
2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago. If it's in the hundreds and now it's in the 80s, he's losing something somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's where being able to work with every single coach. I mean, I call PPL. Yeah. Zach and any of them, they'll give me anything I need.
Yeah.
I can even call JT and he'll go back and he'll look. He'll send me video.
Yeah.
And that's how you get these kids better.
Yeah.
Is everybody working together. It's not McCracken versus Marshall versus this, Tillman versus this. It's what can we do as a community.
Yeah.
Because last time I checked, you can't be individualized and be great.
Yeah. But
you can be a community with a backing of 1 million and be awesome and be great, and everything goes along together.
Man, that is such a great point. And, you know, because I've had people that have talked to me about, you know, or have made the comment, well, you know, the Lake area isn't just Marshall County. No, it's not. It's based in Marshall County, but it's for everybody. And I think when you can get everybody pulling in the same direction, man, you can accomplish so much more. And that's in individualized communities, that's in big communities. When you work together, you can accomplish so much more together than you can by yourself. And that's, you know, talking about instruction. There have been multiple times that I have told people about you, you know, with the strength and conditioning side of stuff. Like, I've got some weights now, which I'll show you the weight room whenever we get done. But that's really more for the post-grad guys.
Yes.
But, you know, that is, I feel like from conversations with you, you love that stuff. You have a passion for it. You're great at it. I feel like you do a great job communicating it. So when people need that type of stuff, I'm going to send them to you. When people come to me and ask for pitching, I don't take them in. I send them to Kent. You know what I mean? Because, look, I wasn't a professional pitcher. Mm-hmm. I was a good hitter. I was a good hitter and an above-average infielder. I mean, that's, you know, they're a little shaky sometimes, but I was a good hitter. And I will help kids with hitting, and I will help kids with infield. But when it comes to catching, I'm pushing them to somebody else because I feel like that kid is going to benefit more by hearing it from somebody else that specializes in that given area. No, I
agree.
And with that being said, do I think you know about hitting? Yeah, I do. Do I think that Kent knows about hitting? Yes, I do. But if you ask me where is your money better spent, it's better spent with somebody that is their primary 100% concern. You know, like you you are constantly developing your knowledge and your skill set in that given area. So why would I not send people to you if I want them to get better in that area?
I agree 100% because that's like, I can tell you how to pitch. I can tell you how to hit.
Right.
For one, I don't have time to take 30 minutes out of my day because when you work on a hitter or a pitcher, it's not like the weight room. I can have 2 or 3 people going at the same time watching, and I'm 100% focused on them.
Right.
You can't do that with hitting.
No, you
can't do that with pitching. Now, can I sit there and watch your pitchers pitch and tell you where they're losing energy? Yes. And tell you how I can fix them. Now, I can't tell you how to fix it on the mound as in form, but I can tell you how to fix it in the gym.
Yeah.
And that's like I tell me and Kent went and ate several weeks ago, and we talked about the same thing. I said, if anybody wants to know about pitching, I said, they're coming to you because I don't have the time to study it like I do strength and conditioning because that's what I do.
Yeah.
That is my passion. Why do I want to send, if I'm sending my daughter to somebody, why do I want to send her to somebody that coaches softball but played volleyball a little bit?
Right.
Or coaches baseball and ran track a little bit in high school? Why do I want to send her to them to coach? I don't even coach my daughter in volleyball. My brother does that. It's what he specializes in. He's got an AAU volleyball league.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do that. What I do is when she gets off there, I tell her everything she done wrong on a strength and conditioning side, as in losing energy.
Yeah.
Because each one of us is blessed with a gift. I've been blessed with the gift to close my eyes and see somebody move from the beginning to the end in a 3-dimensional way.
Yeah.
So when I see that, I can put that down on paper. Nobody else is going to be able to do what I do with that because they don't have the same vision I do.
Right.
But I can't do that hitting and tell you that he's dropping his hands, telling you he's stepping out, or you can do that.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be successful and 100% successful, I got to do what I do. That's like I always tell these coaches. They come up to me, and I do a little bit of motivational speaking here and there on the side, and I say, a head coach, if he does one thing, he's got a 98% success rate. Head coach starts picking up 2 things, he's got a 65 to 70% success rate. He tries to do 3 things, he's screwed.
Yeah.
And the key to coaching is, if you're coaching, your infield coach, you trust. Your hitting coach, you trust. Your pitching coach, you trust. So you don't have to go watch and make sure that the infield's doing what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
Because you know that they're doing it because you trust that guy.
Yeah. You know, that's why I feel so comfortable with where we are at Marshall County right now, is because I do trust my assistant coaches. I trust them more than I've ever trusted any coaches before.
You have to.
And, you know, like, there is a lot of times at the high school level where you don't get the opportunity to interact with the freshman group as much, just simply because the schedules are tough, you know. And I try to be around as much as I can to see what's going on and that sort of stuff. But I've had a guy that's coached them for 3 years, Ross Doherty, and he does a phenomenal job with those kids. And I think, honestly, the biggest thing with those young guys is them learning the program, learning the fundamentals, getting reps, and being held accountable.
That's it. That's it right there. Held accountable.
Man, he does a phenomenal job. Then we added Zach Allen last year, and Randy's been with me since the beginning. Randy Jackson coached he played at Murray State in Three Rivers, a JUCO bandit. Zach Allen came on last year, and then we have another guy that helps us, JD Merritt. I don't know if you remember that name, but he was at Marshall County.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so Ross and JD.
He was on your podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Zach was. Zach Allen was on the pod. Okay. And then Ross and JD would have been in high school around 2000, I think.
Okay.
Both great players. But I say all that to just say that, you know, being able to trust them is so much of a load off of my mind. And, you know, we've even talked this year. You know, I've always coached third at Marshall, and we did an orange-blue inter-squad, and we're doing some stuff. I won't get real into it, but we're doing some stuff on the bases to try to create a little bit more energy, just be more athletic. And so Zach does a great job at first base. Well, I told Randy, I said, hey, you want to coach third? And he's like, yeah, I love coaching third. So he goes over there, so while he's over there, I'm sitting in the dugout and I'm having conversations with guys about hitting and approach and stuff like that. So it ends, and I'm like, I kind of like this. You know, I can have real-time conversations with kids as they come back. Now, given the circumstances of the at-bat, they may not be in much of a conversating mode after that at-bat. But at least I'm there if they are. And they can ask me, Coach, what did you see there? Or I can offer some advice. Like I had one kid that came off the field. He's like, the ball's up here. No, it wasn't. Yeah, you might have thought it was, but it wasn't. So you need to get your foot down a little bit sooner. You need to see the ball longer because obviously something's off here. You know what I mean? But that's stuff that we can adjust in real time if I'm in the dugout. So I'm not saying that that's what we're going to stick to, but Randy did a great job at third. Zach does a great job at first, and I think just me having that trust in those guys makes me feel comfortable in doing that.
100% guarantee. And a lot of people ask like, well, why don't you hire more coaches with you? And I'm like, it's not that I don't trust people.
Yeah.
For one, I was taught respect is earned, not given.
Yeah.
And another thing I was taught, hire people that have the same mental aspect and the same work ethic that you hired.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a lot of people be talking about the gym and stuff, and I'll be like, do y'all realize that I'm only open, besides when I get to the weekend, I'm only open 12 hours a week?
Yeah.
Do y'all believe I do all this and I average 60 to 100 athletes a year?
Yeah.
I said, did I keep consistent? I said, do y'all only realize I only do that 12 hours a week? I said, I got another 40-hour job that I do on side of that. And I got some stuff we'll talk about a little bit later. But is that I haven't found somebody that when I go home at night, even though I got to get up the next morning at 4:30, I make myself read an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I've put myself through a kinesiologist. I'm going to be a certified kinesiologist in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I've put myself through that program. And it's a college program. I've gained certificates from well-known doctors in Canada and other places that works with elbow recovery, shoulder recovery, ACL recovery.
Yeah.
So I've got certificates, and I put myself in a situation is I don't want to be a doctor, but if TO sends me a guy that's having some elbow issues, that I can help keep him out of having surgery at a young age.
Right.
What can I do in my profession to alleviate some of these surgeries?
Yeah.
And if I have to do, like I mentioned it before, Armored Heat, he's a physical therapist that worked for the Dodgers organization that has created his own app, and he's giving you all these tools. And if any organization wants to get it, I'll call him, and I can probably get it for each athlete, probably $30 a month. How much money do we waste on some of these apps that we use that's not even beneficial? They don't even care. They get your money and they don't even really talk to you.
Yeah.
That's like I have a lot of issues sometimes, and I do it too. I love the virtual training, but if I'm virtual training and I can't see your guy or see my guy at least twice in a month, is the virtual training I'm giving him really that good? Or am I doing a cookie cutter program to get him? And at these ages, you know as well as I do, it was about 15, 20 years ago, everybody started teaching the inverted Y, where you squeeze your scalps. Yep. You could get 5 or 10 miles an hour off a kid in a matter of 2 or 3 years. So you could start them in junior college. But here's the thing: time they got to the pros, their arm was wore out. Yeah. Their shoulders was shot because they didn't decelerate the arm in the proper manner. Mm-hmm. So, but they got what they needed when they needed it. Mm-hmm. So are we getting what we need right now to get the money? Yeah. And not looking at the athlete's best interest?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are. I would agree with you 100%. I think that there are a lot of things out there that are just getting that membership fee or whatever. But I think there is also a lot of stuff like the win reality thing. Have you ever done that?
No.
Oh man, I'm telling you, for a facility like this to just have it as a station is incredible. Because what it helps you do is it helps you with timing, it helps you with pitch recognition, all those sorts of things in real time, inside, right? And I think that those sorts of things are great if you're using them. But if you're not using them, then it's for nothing,
Yes.
And
Yes.
honestly, this facility here, I've told my coaches, hey, encourage your kids to just come in and take 50 swings a day. 50 swings a day when they're 8 years old. And then as they progress a little bit more, now they're taking 100 swings a day, okay? And maybe they're only swinging 5 days a week, a work week, right? They're putting in 500 swings a week, okay? Over a month, now that's 2,000 swings, right? There's Eric Clark right there. He knows you're on.
Yeah.
But that, and I think that's the thing, and it's just like with strength and conditioning. It's like anything. It's the consistent work that you put in over time. It's not what you do today.
No.
It's what you do today, tomorrow, the next day. And I think a lot of times kids get overwhelmed because they try to do too much in one setting. And it's like, look, just space it out. Just space it out. Hey, I did it today. I'm actually trying to make a conscious effort. Hey, I don't have to kill myself in the gym today as long as I come in here tomorrow.
No, because here's the thing.
And then I go the next day.
Because here's the thing. Live to lift another day. Live to swing another day.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't, if I go to the gym and I don't have it that day, I know what my body can take, so I push my body to a certain limit, then I'm done.
Right.
I know if I pick up a bat, I know how many swings I can take to where it's starting to be negative.
Yep.
And I mean, I tell kids all the time, I said, you don't have to, I hit wiffle balls.
Yeah.
If you get a tee and aluminum bat and you hit a wiffle ball off a tee, I guarantee you're going to know if you're swinging wrong or not because that wiffle ball's not going to lie.
Yep.
And I broke mine down morning and night. I took over 500-something thousand swings probably in my life going through my career.
Yeah.
But I didn't overswing.
Yeah.
I didn't underswing, but I didn't overswing. I spread it out. And what we need to start doing with younger kids is how many kids do you get in your program? Now that you've had it, it's probably not as many.
Yeah.
But how many kids catch the ball in on their body?
Yeah.
If I get out here, get my base low, get my back parallel to the ground, I've got a 90-something% chance of catching that ball.
Yep.
The closer I get my hands, the less my chances is because I got to put my head down.
Right.
And I got to catch the ball. We need to get back to fundamentals of just sports in general.
Yep.
8-year-olds, let's start them off jumping rope. When you come into my gym, people look at me and I got high school kids that can't even jump a rope.
Oh, man.
That is
crazy.
horrible.
It's crazy.
You're going to do 200 in season. You're going to do 500 off season jump ropes wherever you go.
Yeah.
I remember going to a practice in college, and I got handed a jump rope and J-bands, and I was told 1,000 jump ropes, 15 minutes of J-bands before you ever pick up a baseball.
Yeah.
When I go watch these tournaments and I go watch some of these PBR events and I go watch a lot of events, I see kids go pick up a baseball and go out there and just start throwing.
Yeah.
If I'm a scout over here watching you warm up, if your team does not look athletic and they are not receiving the ball athletic and they are not stepping through and throwing athletic, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm wasting my time here.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take the game serious enough to put 100% effort in it when you step on that field,
Yep.
and that's what you was talking about earlier, is that work ethic. This is what they've got it. We've lost our work ethic.
Yeah.
Not every kid.
Right.
You got some kids that overwork,
Yeah.
overtrain. I deal more with overtraining and recovering athletes, and I deal with trying to keep from athletes being overtrained.
Yeah.
But we got to get back to the basics, the fundamentals of life.
Yeah.
not just baseball, basketball, football. We got to get back to the basic fundamentals of life.
Yeah.
Let's take care of our bodies. Let's take care of what we do, and let's put ourselves in a proper state to be able to succeed in what we do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like my daughter, my youngest Allie, she is a pain in my butt. she run track the other day for the first time, come out of blocks, finished second in the 100 and finished second in the 200. She come home the other night and she filled herself full of sugar. That's all she ate was sugar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't fuel a racehorse with crap.
Yeah.
You fill a racehorse with proper nutrition.
Yeah.
I said, we've got to pick back up on that, because I'm the world's worst. I let her eat anything she wants.
Yeah. I got to get better about that too.
And it's like I made a lifestyle change. I went to a holistic doctor and had a bioscan. It's long story short, you put electrodes on your temple and it goes all, and it told me that I've had a small brain aneurysm and a small heart aneurysm. And the only thing that I had done wrong was I was full of sugar, energy drinks, because I stay on the road.
Yeah.
I stay up, and I was full of a lot of fat food. I wasn't eating right.
Yeah.
I lost 72 pounds since I've done this, and non-GMO, no gluten, 16 ounces of salad a day, 16 ounces of fruit and berries a day, and a little small thing of meat. I don't eat no sugars, no refined. I don't eat none of that anymore.
Yeah.
I cut all of it out. But as we get our age, we have to have a life-altering event to change our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now we're having kids that are having cholesterol issues at 13, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Having looking at type 2 diabetes because of the sugar level that they've got.
Yeah.
And I look at it this way. As a professional, it's my obligation, and I've let this one down, and I'm going to pick it back up, but it's my obligation. I take myself to work every day in a professional manner. I'm well dressed. I look nice. I got everything I need to succeed in life. When I go to the gym, I got everything I need. I got all this scientific stuff to help me make sure I got to provide that same treatment for my daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people that send their kids off, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I don't know how many people, and I've been one of them, that sends their kids off and not giving them all the tools to succeed.
Yeah.
To be successful in life.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about needing a life-altering event. For me, honestly, it was the birth of my son. I mean, that's quite life-altering. But fortunately, it wasn't a negative health event for me. But when I had him, I lost my dad, and he was 56 to a heart attack. And when we had Rex, and it should have been this way with my other two kids, but for some reason, man, when we had Rex, it just hit different, and in this regard. And I was sitting there, and I was like, man, my dad died when he was 56. If that's the case, I've lived over half of my life already. And, at no fault of his own, I have grown up the large part of my adult life without my dad. And I don't want my kids to have to do that, So that is whenever I was like, I've got to start doing better. And so just the consistency in the gym has gotten a lot better, but the diet thing, and that's why I wanted you to bring this up on camera, the diet thing I'm interested in, because I have been seeing more stuff about like mushroom coffee and mushroom this and mushroom that. And I listen to Joe Rogan like all the time. When I'm driving, I listen to Joe Rogan. When I'm doing cardio, I'm listening to Joe Rogan, which is kind of weird. But for cardio, it's actually great because you check in. And I'm hoping at some point people start listening to me while they're doing cardio. You know what I mean? But seriously, I think, there are a lot of stuff that's out there. And I think the holistic side of it is a big piece, because I think, my whole life it has been And I remember with my mom, and hopefully she doesn't care about me talking about this, but man, my mom would go to the doctor and they'd give her something else to take.
My mom took 16 blood pressure medicine and all kinds of heart medicine and everything.
For years.
For years.
And I remember this was whenever I was going through my exercise science degree at Indy. And I went to the doctor, they put me on another blood pressure medicine. I'm like, they ever talk to you about exercise, about eating better? And my mom's not like overweight or nothing. I mean, she's actually in pretty good health, but her blood pressure has always been an issue. And I'm like, have they ever talked to you about that? No, not really. And so she had recently, within the past few years, has switched to a more holistic doctor, and that she has gotten her off of some of that stuff. And it's just like, I think like I said, for my whole life, we have been fed this. You need to take this to prevent this. You need to do this to prevent that. You need to do this to fix this. You can fix a lot of it yourself.
Yes.
And you may be able to offer something on this. I know at this point, I'm 35. I know that if I'm not active, if I'm not exercising and stuff like that, my anxiety is higher, my blood pressure is higher, which are two bad things.
Yes.
To work together. High blood pressure and anxiety are not a good thing.
No.
I'm more irritable. I'm in a worse mood, right? But I know through my education that exercise helps prevent that, right? So I try to be more steady, not only for the ego stuff that you were talking about, but just honestly for general well-being.
Yes.
So talk about so you go to this doctor. Where was the doctor at?
It's in up past Owensboro in Kentucky.
Okay, so not necessarily.
No, it's it's about it's about 5 hours from here. It's up past Owensboro, up past that area, and I'll think of it in a minute.
No, that's all right.
But reason why I did this is the same exact thing that you're talking about. I had COVID real bad and almost got put on a ventilator. I was fortunate enough, God took care of me and got me out of there. But they used a lot, and I thank God that they did. They used a lot of experimental drugs on me at that time. I was the first one, and I was the first one to catch the Delta variant that bad. My lungs were so covered up that you couldn't even see my heart, couldn't see nothing. I was told that they was going to put me on a high flow oxygen for 14 hours, and when I went into the hospital, my oxygen level was 76.
And what's normal?
98.
Oh wow!
I was almost to the point to where I was turning white on my legs, and my wife worked in the medical field and still does, and she told me that you're almost code 3.
Holy crap! I didn't realize you had it that bad.
Yes, and through the grace of God and medication and 2 doctors. I had the infectious disease person that was in at that time. She overlooked me, and a guy that was in rural high up in Washington over different diseases and stuff like that. He was overlooking me. So I had a lot that was overlooking me and watching me go through this process. And when I got out, I started having blood pressure issues. Well, I would go to the doctor, no medication, nothing at all at this time. And this is 4 years ago, so I was right at 48. No problem at all. Blood pressure starts getting 180, 190, over 80, 90. They give me medication. And long story short, they kept putting and adding up.
Right.
And my blood pressure's not changing. But I feel like 100%. I mean, I feel good since I'm a little overweight. I gained weight back. I started eating, started getting back on the energy drinks.
Yeah.
And finally, one day I walked in there, and they would not let me leave the plant till my blood pressure dropped below a certain rate. So I had to stay there an extra 3 hours to get my blood pressure down. EKGs showing perfect. Echocardiograms, everything showing perfect. No blockage, no nothing. At that time, it was 190 over 98.
Oh, my God.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And so we get a call from my wife's sister-in-law, and she's talking about this lady in Corbin, Kentucky, that does these scans, and the scan is something that looks at the body from head to toe, but it looks at positive and negative neurons. Something that we hold. If I got scared when I was a little kid at 5 years old, that's still in my mind. That's in the back of my brain. It's in my subconscious that neurons keep tabs of.
Yeah.
It's like a biomarker for everything that you've done. And she goes in there and starts listing these biomarkers that I'm having issues with. And I mean, the scan took about an hour, and it took about another 2 hours for her to explain it to me. And then that's when I found out I had the aneurysm and all this, and I had a little bump on my kidney that we thought might have been the process, because the kidney, blood pressure,
right,
all that worked together. And I said, okay. I said, and I've had all kinds of tests on my kidneys, and everything was perfect. I mean, everything else is, cholesterol is good, everything else is good. Just with the blood pressure. Well, now that I've lost the weight, and I started eating right, started watching what I eat, and cutting all the sugar is devil's gold.
Yeah.
It is the devil's gold. Sugar is. Sugar causes cancer. Sugar makes cancer grow.
Yeah.
Sugar does all that. But I cut all that out. Now I'm still on the blood pressure medicine. We're working on cutting it back down, because I'll be asleep and my resting heart rate will be 38. My resting heart rate averages between 48 and 40.
Wow.
My walking heart rate is 57. My exercise heart rate, unless I get a pretty good jog, probably about 5 mile an hour plus, is at 70 to 90.
Wow.
And everything is perfect on that, but it was just like, what's going on? And lead up to this, you was talking about your mom with holistic. My wife, which has helped me along this more than anybody I could ever say, she has helped. She's been my guiding stone through everything that I do. She's my backbone on this. We go to Florida in June. She is going to graduate as a holistic practitioner. She will be a doctor in holistic medicine.
Really?
Yes.
So is she going to open up like a...
What we're going to open up is, hers is Be Well, Nutrition, Recovery, and Performance.
Oh, wow.
Me and her are going to team up. She's going to do the mental, like she's certified in hypnosis.
Okay.
But it's not most people think hypnosis is me swinging on things.
Right.
But
right.
what she does is she gives you a list of questions to answer. She does a recording for 20 minutes. You put your earbuds in when you lay down at night. You listen to it for 20 minutes, and it gets into your subconscious. Once it gets in your subconscious, you can change stuff. You can change and make it better. So she's gonna do that. She's gonna do the holistic stuff, and we're just gonna continue to get clients. But what I'm gonna do is with this, one thing I've learned the most is, you've got red light therapy, which everybody knows is circulation.
Right.
Well, blue light therapy. Blue light therapy takes you out of your parasympathetic nervous system or sympathetic nervous system and puts you in your relaxes you.
Yeah.
Blue light relaxes you. It's the best thing after concussion to get in blue light, because it relaxes the mind.
Huh.
Green works on the lymphatic system. So I have, I'm working with a company that we want to create, and it's already out there, but get them here, saunas with all these different lights in them. Yeah. So now I can do recovery and sauna. So now only am I getting the circulation in your body, I'm also getting green, also getting red, also getting blue. So I'm getting heat, which for us, if we work out in a sauna, triples your testosterone level because of the heat.
Yeah.
But also with kids, it helps sweat out the toxins.
Right. And
it helps heal the body like that. I'm looking at hyperbaric chambers.
Yeah.
I'm looking at compression therapy. But compression therapy for 3 or 4 people, but at the same time, we're doing compression. We got vibrating plates. We got electric. I have what they call a neuromuscular machine. And I learned this from Mark. He's one of my mentors in Minnesota. If you look up his website, Play Fast Now, and you look up his internet stuff, he is on a new level. He's got professional athletes coming everywhere to him to reprogram his neurological system, to reprogram the body. And what it does is I can reprogram your gait. A lot of people have hamstring injuries because they're pulling with their hamstring instead of pushing.
Right.
Your hamstring lets you drive the knee up. Your quad drives the knee back down. If I drive the knee up with my hamstring and my psoas, I'm going to pull my hamstring because it's not. I mean, if I push back. So what I do is when our muscles fire, it fires the glute, fires the butt, fires the hamstring, then it fires the opposite lower back erector. It goes 1, 2, 3. If that's not sequenced, then we have pulled hamstrings, we have pulled quads. And that's the reason why a lot of your athletes' quads are not firing. Yeah. And with the true strength, I can hook it up and get extension and flexion with true strength. It tells me how much force you're pulling. Like today, the young lady that I worked with, on her extension, she was pulling 1,000 pounds of force. On her pull, or she was extending 1,000 pounds of force. On her flexion, she was doing 557. Wow. That's a 50% drop off in your extension to flexion.
Yeah. So is that like? Are they like electrode pads, or is that all? Are you getting all that off?
No, I got that off of the True Strength. The force pads are like electro. It's like a TENS unit, but mine's a TENS unit on steroids. Yeah, mine's a $7,000 to $10,000 unit. Yeah. A lot of people saw me. If you look through my videos, you'll see me work with them. I have another mentor in Seattle, Washington. Deshaun, he works with them on track athletes. What we do is you re-stretch, reprogram. It's like you right now. If you bend down and touch your toes, you're not going to get to your toes.
Probably not.
5 minutes with that machine in the proper places and the proper thing, I'll have you putting your palms on the ground. Yeah. Because it contracts the muscle the same way that it contracts, but it relaxes the muscle the same way it relaxes. That's like I get 600 reps a second.
Oh, wow.
I can put them on your legs, and I can ramp your legs up the same way as if you come out of a starting gate and run all the way through the finish and you never get off your butt.
Wow. See, and that's the type of stuff, man. That's insane. That's insane that
it really is.
That we have access to that sort of stuff, you know. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about, because I see this quite a bit, you know, you have kids that get hurt or they get injured or they get banged up and they just rely on rest, right? But there's no treatment protocol, right? So like you look at a muscle like a hamstring, and even if it's like a grade 1 or a grade 2 strain, that's still an issue, right? And it needs to be treated. And a lot of times, rest won't just miraculously make it better.
Actually, and I mean, this is just out of experience with me. I'm not talking from a doctor standpoint. If you call me and say you had a athlete roll an ankle or pull a hamstring, I'm gonna tell you to bring them here, and I'll be there in a minute. Yeah. I want them to start work right now. Yeah. Unless it is tore. If it's tore or broke, you have to go through there. But if it's just a roll or if it's just a pull, let's go. Let's get them back to work. Let's get them back to work, because the more blood flow you can get to those areas, the faster it starts healing itself. Our body is made to heal itself, and this is one thing I've learned. Listen to my wife go through her classes. The body, if it's not distorted by all the other bullcrap like sugars and all the processed and all the stuff that we eat like that, I haven't eaten a piece of ham or turkey or anything like that that's processed in so long. Yeah. I mean, I do. I get beef from a cow, but I have not eaten pork. Yeah. I don't eat the pork. But if I can start right then with an athlete, I get them back. Yeah. I had a kid playing basketball. rolled his ankle, had a big tournament the following weekend. Now, his left to right wasn't 100%. His north to south was, but his left to right was about 70. But his ankle looked about like a tomato on both sides. His dad brought him to me every single day. I worked with him with bands. I worked with him with all kinds of stuff. He played the next weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I rolled my ankle bad. I stepped on a stump that was about this big and I thought I broke my leg, honestly. I mean, it popped, and I thought it was done. And I remember the treatment that I went through with that, just pulling bands back, picking stuff up on my toes, moving in and out, and all that sort of stuff. It was excruciatingly painful. But I think I started the next day. And I think it's just important that people realize, like when you're hurt, when you're injured, you need to treat it. You can't just rest it.
No.
You know, it's not just going to go away. You know, we were talking about the ego stuff and whatnot. When I was at Rend Lake, the coach and I, when I was the strength and conditioning coach, the head coach and I, we were running 60s. And he's like, Tio, how fast you think you can go? Fastest I ever got was 6.7. I'm like, I can probably get 7 flat. And he's like, nah, no way. And I'm like, watch this. Boy, I ran it about 75% through that thing. My hamstring grabbed, and it still is not better. Like, you know, like I can squat and stuff like that. But dude, if I take off running for a long distance, it's still there. It doesn't. I did something to it. I think I probably almost tore it if I didn't tear it. And it's a weak link, you know.
If you didn't see blood, usually bruising on the outside of it, usually you don't tear it. That's just a rule of thumb that you read. But the key to that is your gait.
Yeah.
You have to and that's where the neuromuscular comes in, because if with my unit I can reprogram the gait.
Yeah.
Because I can contract and relax the muscle. With the TENS unit, you're just feeding it. You're just constant tension, constant anxiety on it, but it helps. All that helps. It's just whatever. And it's like a lot of people ask me with ice. I say I always go heat, but if it's swelled up, you got to get some ice on it. You have to get as much inflammation. But what you got to remember is heat gets rid of inflammation just as much as ice does.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of times I've always thought that right after the injury, ice it, keep the inflammation down, and then after, keep heat on it and keep the blood moving and that sort of stuff.
I tell them to go 15 minutes of ice.
Yeah.
30 to 45 minutes wrapped in a heating blanket or a rice pad. Yeah. Anything you can heat up, get heat on it too. Yeah. Or put it in as hot as water as you can stand. Put it in there.
Yeah.
Because I also use water with ankles. Mm-hmm. You've probably seen me on some of my videos. You put your foot in a thing of water, and I put the electrical path in the water, so I got my whole bath now is electrical charged. But it's positive and negative. It's not going to shock you. Yeah. Like I can use mine if you got screws in your elbows, I can use mine, and it's not going to do anything to the screws and elbows. Everything is good. Yeah. It's Globus, and Mark my mentor in Minnesota, has a contract with Globus, and he's creating these machines that are just getting more and more advanced on how the muscles fire. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing to walk up there in Minnesota and watch him on video or watch him how he does stuff. It's nothing to see him with 10, 15 pro athletes walking in and out of his. I mean, they fly him everywhere. Yeah. They fly him in on Friday. He works on them on Sunday. And you got about a 24-hour. Once I work on you, you got about 24 hours it's good for. Yeah. So he'll go in there on Saturday and he'll run every one of them NFL athletes through protocols, neuromuscular stretching, warm up, all that, and they'll go play on Sunday. Then they fly him back out. They fly him in and out. Wow. To do this, and it's amazing. I mean, it really is.
And I think obviously there's some physiological changes that happen for sure, but I think for an athlete, just that confidence through preparation.
That's it.
When you
That's
know
it.
that you're doing all that stuff to take care of yourself and put yourself in the best position, when you know you're eating right, when you know you're stretching, you know you're lifting, you know you're putting in the swings, you're taking the ground balls, you're throwing the bullpens, the flat grounds, you feel better, you feel more confident, and that's something like for us at Marshall County at the high school level. I don't want them to feel like they need anything.
No.
Now I do like when they seek out more. I like when my guys go to camp for pitching. I like when, because I can't work with high school kids obviously, so I like when my guys go to other guys for hitting, because I think those extra reps are valuable. And so you're talking about these physiological changes that happen. I think there's mental changes that happen along with it. Have you ever heard of Gary Brecka?
Yes.
Man, he is.
I listened to him too.
Oh man, he is very good, and he talks about what's the grounding pads. Have you seen those that you sleep on? And I think that is that kind of. And I'm not even going to try to go into it because I don't want to massacre it. But he talks about the positive and negatively charged ions in your body and stuff, and how sleeping on these pads help ground you. And it's the same as if you wake up in the morning and you walk out and stand on the ground barefooted. And how Mother Earth will ground you if you just let it. But for people who don't have the time or don't have the ability, like for people in the city or something like that doesn't have a yard, that they can just walk out and we're talking bare feet on the ground.
Yes.
And I think it's only for 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, you don't have to do it that long.
Yeah, and it pulls you into the earth, right? And it makes you run more efficiently. And he talks about, he does a test, and I've wanted to do it. It's just expensive. I think it's like $300, but it's a mouth swab, and you send it in, and it basically tells you what your body absorbs and how it absorbs it and stuff like that, and then you take a multivitamin or you take vitamins based off of how
that stuff works.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to know how much my test was.
No, I don't. Not if you went into a clinic to do it.
No, I didn't go to a clinic, because you got to remember, people like Brecka and people like that, even like my wife, when she gets up, certified and all that, you still only have clients.
Yeah.
Where in the state of Kentucky, you're not a holistic practitioner is not considered a doctor.
Yeah.
So you have clients, like a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Chiropractor has clients, not patients.
Right.
And so no, it wasn't a clinic. It was it was out of my own money, own pocket.
Ooh, buddy.
$1,500.
Oh man, but
it saved my life.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and it all comes down to what are you paying for? You know what I mean? Like
yes.
if it is something that changes the whole course of your life, then it's worth it. And it was talking about how he talks about how things like the hardening of the arteries, arterial sclerosis, I think. I that's not the word, but it's the idea, right?
Yes.
So talking about genetic disorders such as that, there are things that you are predetermined. Yeah. Like it's already in your genes. So like when you hear of things, it's genetic. Well, it's not really genetic. It is in your genes, but it can be altered, and that test is supposed to tell you. And so that's part of why my mom has high blood pressure. And there for a while I was struggling with high blood pressure too, but I think mine was external. I think it was diet, lack of activity, that sort of stuff. But for my kids and for them, because kids can do it, there's nothing wrong with it. All it does is it tells you how your body is operating and what you can do better. And you look at things like multivitamins and things like that, and I'm actually going to bring somebody on here that talks about supplements and stuff for kids and young athletes and things. But you talk about multivitamins, dude, I feel way better. And I feel like I even look better when I have a multivitamin, because I feel like I'm absorbing the nutrients that I am putting in. And you talk about gut health and things like that. If your gut's not in order, you're not absorbing what you need.
I'll tell you, you need to bring on my wife.
Bring her on.
I
told you last time. I told you 2 weeks ago. You should have brought her in. We could have just pulled her on.
She wants to wait. She's not stressed, but she's doing. I mean, she's doing. She's also working.
Yeah.
She works from home, but she's also working and a stay-at-home mom. So she's doing she's finishing up the part of sugar. There's 32 to 40 hours worth of videos she has to watch on each individual thing.
Yeah.
But gut health and stuff like that, leaky gut, all that, yes.
Man, you talk about sugar and stuff. One of the things that has been the biggest surprising thing to me, because as I was growing up, it was fats are bad. Well, now all of a sudden these keto diets come in, and now you're eating fat and you're eating protein and stuff like that. No, I think everything is only good in moderation, but I didn't know that sugar companies paid to have fat company or like saturated fats and unsaturated fats and stuff. They were paying people to say it was bad when it was actually sugar that was the problem in the first place.
Yes, here's the thing. And I watched this, and I'll probably she'll correct me on this one when she watches this. But she was watching a video right before I came here on the proper nutrition used to be carbs. The government built their triangle around the carbs.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. All them carbs causes your insulin to spike.
Yeah.
When your insulin spikes, the fat that you have up here that's stored that feeds the body when it needs energy because you're using it, the insulin don't allow them to feed this.
Yeah.
So the fatter we get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you said, they're paying Peter to keep Paul from telling the truth.
Yeah.
And it's 100% like that. Yeah. And that's what's bad about it is.
Yeah, and I do think it's gonna get better, and I think the more people that we can put into the community that's trying to educate people like that, I think is gonna be huge. And something that I've wanted to do this for 3 years, and I've just never found the time to do it because of just coaching and other things. But I really want to do like a coach's clinic, host a coach's clinic, and have guys like you come in, talk about strength and conditioning, have like my youth coaches come in, talk about things that they do at practice that work and things like that. Because man, there's so many rec leagues around here, and this is not anything derogatory at all. Like, I know everybody means well, but bottom line is there's a lot of coaches out there that are just volunteering their time that could use some information, some ideas on drills, and sometimes it's not the most beneficial task to just have your kid throwing BP at practice. Like it's.
I've had 3 in the state of Kentucky state championship football teams call me and ask me how much would I charge, and these are state. These are well-known programs that's been winning for years, and they ask me that they don't have a budget.
Yeah.
All their coaches that's doing it is half of them are volunteers.
Yeah.
And they're winning state titles year after year after year. I think one of them in the last 7 years won 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What do you mean you don't have money?" Well, we put all our money into education. We don't put our money into the sports programs.
Yeah.
And I said, I understand that part, but what are y'all doing?
Yeah. I think you think about, just sports specific stuff. How many coaches don't understand what a launch position is, and how many coaches don't understand how you're not supposed to catch the ball right underneath you, that it's better to, and just showing them, hey, okay, put them on their knees, put their glove out in front of them, and have them catch the ball out in front of their glove. And you know what I mean? Like, just little things to start building those movement patterns earlier is only going to help. You know what I mean? And I think there are so many rec leagues and so many coaches out there that would really benefit from that stuff.
I had a parent ask me today, what can we do to get you to build a facility in Murray?
Yeah.
Murray has nobody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can build a facility anywhere. I said, I don't want to build it. Y'all build it, and I'll come.
That's right.
It's like the Field of Dreams. Build it, we'll come. I don't have no problem coming. And what I'm looking at is my long run goal is to when my wife gets finished with this, pairing up with her, which we've been a pair for a long time now, and to start educating people, like you said, we're going to educate people. We're going to let people know that's like vitamins. You can go to Walmart or you can order them online. If you don't know what you're ordering and don't look at the fillers on the back, some vitamins are worse than the actual medication.
Yeah.
And I mean, in food you can't trust anymore because of a lot of stuff, but it's just educating yourself. Yeah. It's out there, and people say, well, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I've been down a lot of rabbit holes, and I've known what to trust and what not to trust. But get a community together like we was talking earlier, and let's talk.
Yeah.
If you had questions about, hey, Tap, I want to buy these vitamins. What's your wife think about these?
Yeah.
Or my mother-in-law. My sister-in-law is a compound pharmacist, owns her own pharmacy in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah.
I mean, but the machine that I used and the machine that he's talking about is the machines we're going to bring.
Yeah.
We're not going to charge astronomical for them. It's not saying that the people doing it can't. They can charge, but I've always been about help me, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
You help the community get better. The community will always help you. And I've always said it, and I don't know if it's true or not because I've never heard anybody say anything different. If you ask about Coach Tapp in Paducah, you're not going to hear nothing bad.
Yeah.
And that's because I've never lied to anybody, and I don't go out of my way to put a cover around me to...
Yeah.
If you want to know the truth, don't ask me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
I mean, if you, and it's like a lot of the kids are getting aggravated with me because every time you come in there, you do a workout, and then I do a 2 after the workout. Because I don't call it warm up because warm up people half-ass. A workout people give 110%, so it's a workout. It's not a warm up.
Yeah.
But at the very end of it, you do a 20-yard build-up, a 10-yard sprint, a 10-yard fly. I got lasers out there. I'm writing your time down. I don't care if it's bad or good. I'm writing your time down. Because when you write it down, you rank it, and you publish it, then the accountability goes on them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the accountability to be on me because I'll let you know now. I tore my shoulder up. Couldn't go anywhere else and play. I dove for a ball, got my arm caught in the grass, and it ripped behind me, tore my shoulder. I was done. So I couldn't play no more. So my eligibility's gone. Can I get in there and run a laser? Yesterday the girl was just joking with me, and we're running dead stop sprints, 10 yards. Track athlete. My time was better. But I told her it's not because I'm faster than her. It's not because I'm better than her. It's because I'm more mentally prepared than her.
Yeah.
Because all I got to do is get close to you one time and you say, man, I'm 17 years old. This guy's 52 years old. He's getting close to me.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
Yeah.
It's like when I lay underneath a bench, I see 135. I don't see 405.
Yeah.
How can you still squat or how can you still bench 405? Is because I don't have a sight outside.
Yeah.
My side is 135.
Yeah.
My mind is telling me it's 135.
Yeah.
We can accomplish what the mind will let us do, but we block our mind of everything that we could accomplish because we put blinders on.
Yeah.
It feels like, I'm that Kentucky Derby horse that can't see left or right.
Yeah.
All I can see is straight. I don't want to see straight.
Yeah.
I want to see the world as a whole.
Yeah.
What have I got coming from the left? What have I got coming from the right?
Yeah.
What's coming at me? What's going to happen?
Yeah. I like it.
And in coaching, you have to, because you do something that I would never do. I coach, but I can coach my way because I own my business. Mm-hmm. If you hire me to come in, I'm going to tell you, you take care of the politics. Everybody knows what the politics is. You take care of the politics. I'll take care of the kids.
Yeah.
I answer to you and you only, and I don't have to deal with the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had good relationships with any school I've ever went in with that. I've never had the politics come to me.
Yeah.
And I like it that way because I can't put up with politics.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's age or if I've always been this way, but there's not a filter from here to here anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Hey, what's funny is
if you're a 200 hitter and you walk up to me and you tell me that I'm a 400 hitter, I'm like,
doesn't look like it.
Then the first question I'm going to ask you, I said, okay, have you ever read Tony Gwynn's hitting book? I said, he's only got one or two, and I said, there's one that if you pull up, you'll know because it's about $40.
Yeah.
I said, have you ever read Tony Gwynn's hitting book? No. I said, I've read Rod Carew and Tony Gwynn. It's the two best hitters that's coming up that I know. Ted Williams, I can't read his because I didn't get to watch him play.
Yeah.
But I said, sports is failure. Sports is failure. You got to get that in your mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sports is failure. It has its ups, it has its downs. But where else in the United States can you shoot less than 50% from the field, bat less than 30%, and pitch? And the greatest pitcher ever, one of the greatest pitchers ever, had the most strikeouts but led the league in walks.
Yeah.
I mean, he succeeded in this one but failed at this one.
Yeah.
One of the greatest players to ever play the game, made the most errors most of the time in his position, but he was a world champion. But what did every one of them do when it was time to play the game in the big game? Derek Jeter showed up.
Yep.
Nolan Ryan showed up. Michael Jordan showed up.
Yep.
All of them showed up when it was time to play the game.
Yep.
And that's what I tell these kids. There's only been a handful of hitters since baseball's began that's batted 400 or been close to 400.
Yeah.
I said last year I think 326 won it.
Yeah.
326. I said 32% of the time this guy's getting on base.
Yeah.
And this guy's making $27 million a season.
Yeah.
But he's only getting on base 32% of the time.
Yeah.
If you get a 32 in school, what is it? It's an F. You're
It's
failing.
an F, yeah.
I mean,
you're doing it again.
So here's the mental aspect of life. Because T.O. didn't start everything that he's done and accomplished everything he's done by failing.
Mm-hmm.
Your mindset's got you where you're at today because along the way, you did fail. I failed several times along the way. But it's that mindset of, no, I didn't fail. I got learning experiences.
Learn from it. That's right.
I had learning experiences that made me smarter. My wife, I go to her on the financial part of it because I just put money in the bank. That's all I do. Put money in the bank. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
But she showed me how to invest it better.
Yeah.
To invest in getting a contract where Hawkins Dynamics sends me force plates. When mine gets bad, they send me another pair. They're always updated. I'm leasing the equipment, but I'm leasing $1 million piece of equipment because it helps everybody.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. If Hit Tracks or TrackMan did that, I'd have 3 of them in my gym. But I can't.
Yeah.
My wife, I can because I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
But my wife financially telling me that it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
To go spend $10,000 to get Hit Tracks or TrackMan in my gym.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do hit.
Right.
All I'm going to look at is what's your exit velo, and that's all I want to look at.
Right.
Is exit velo, and I want to look at your spin rate.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do because that tells me velocity and force.
Mm-hmm.
Then that comes to me. I'm not going to tell Who Shot Sam how to hit a ball. because I don't have that
Yeah.
time to do that. But
Yeah.
I can tell him your exit velocity is 70
Yeah.
because you're spending too much time getting energy from your feet to your hips to get the hip shoulder separation to get through it.
Yeah.
Or you're not using your back hip. But I can grab a med ball and have him do hip tosses from this with a radar gun behind him, telling him 23, 23, 20, pick it back up, rep don't count.
Yeah.
And then when the guy leaves my gym after he's did that, he's cussing me because he's put in twice as much work because I'm holding him accountable with a radar gun, because once you throw the first two, you can't drop 1 or 2 miles an hour under it or they don't count.
Yeah.
I had a guy throw 50-something med ball side tosses one day because he decided to get halfway do it. But all right, your parents is paying me. If we're going to either spend all hour back here doing this, or you're going to pick it up. You're not going to do that to me.
Yeah.
I said I made an obligation to your parents, and that's where the filter went out.
Yeah.
Because I will tell your parents, I said, here's your money back. Your son you want it more than your son does.
Yeah.
And if the parent wants it more than the son or the daughter, then I'm not going to get it out of them.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we talked about at first. Heart, accountability, desire, work ethic. Gotta have it.
Yeah.
You've got to have it.
Yeah. It's I think, it's tough sometimes working with younger kids, because I think a lot of times the parents do want it a little bit more than the kids. But I think for me as an instructor, and just the one person that's trying to make them love baseball at that given moment, I just try to make sure that they're having fun with it, and that they're having fun learning.
Yes.
And because I think that's the driving factor for them.
Having
at
fun.
That point. Yeah, having fun and enjoying the game, loving baseball at that age.
Because you got a young man that you changed his life, and you don't know who it is, and I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him. But he was about ready to quit baseball with one organization. He moved into your organization, and it's just changed his life.
Really?
He's back to being himself. He's back to hitting good. He's back to doing everything good.
Yeah.
And off camera, I'll tell you who it is, but on camera, I don't want to embarrass him.
Well, I love it, man. And that's, I think at the end of the day, when people think back to playing for us, it means a lot to me and that's playing for Lake area, or playing for whatever I am currently associated with. So like right now, Marshall County and Lake area, anybody that comes to those programs, I want them to enjoy baseball. I want them to love the game. I want them to love learning. All that sort of stuff means the world to me. And it can be tough at times, because there's a lot of external things that influence that. But at the end of the day, I want any experience that's related with me in baseball or me in training period to be a positive experience, net positive. There's going to be sometimes some lessons that are a little rougher than others, and there's going to be some lessons that are a little harder learned. But I think at the end of the day, and you're talking about, the perception of you and people that you've trained, I hope that the perception of me is that I genuinely love these kids that I work with, and that I just want them to love what they're doing and enjoy it, And I think you do the same thing. I think it's, we have talked multiple times in the past about I am proud of you for how you continue to learn more and educate yourself and educate everybody around you. And I think bringing you on here and just allowing others to see what you bring to the table, man, having you locally is huge. And you already said this, I think there is a wealth of knowledge in this community.
Oh, yes.
And not with just me and you, just overall, I think there's a lot of people in this community that people can use as resources. And I'm thankful to have you, man. I'm thankful to have you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm thankful to have you on the pod, man.
I appreciate it. And one thing that you could say about me is, and one of my daughters, and I forgot which one it was, asked Coach Hagan, which was my high school baseball coach, St. Mary's, what do you remember about my dad the most? And he said he always had a smile on his face.
That's right.
Right. And that's the key. And that's what I want when I walk out of my gym, when I walk out of somewhere, if I don't have that smile, it's time for me to go to a different direction.
Yeah.
Because it's like when I just had a huge change. I was in a union. I was at the top of the seniority list. I had a financial change to where I can make more money, a lot more money, But I had more responsibility, but I wasn't covered underneath that anymore.
Right.
And it was a big thought process, and it was very big. And I had to sacrifice some stuff. I couldn't no longer work with the football team because I got a 7 to 3 job, 7 to 5 job, whatever it took to be the supervisor. And so I had to make some real changes. And it hurt because I knew in the last 2.5 years that I had put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I had been blessed with 2 great head coaches at that time. Coach Smith at first, Coach Brooks second. And they had put me under their wing and let me do what I do. And when I had to walk away from that for a little bit, and I'm going to try to help on Saturdays and still try to stay on the sideline. And I want to thank Coach Brooks for giving me the opportunity to be able to still do that, because I know how hard it is on stuff like that. But with that being said, is I'm getting to the point where that drive to Heath every day, to Kevel, is getting to the point where the smile is not as big as it used to be.
Yeah.
Even though I got a substantial pay raise, it's not what it used to be. And people always talk about it's not always the money. I've learned, my parents died not as young as yours, but my mom was right behind, and my dad was a little older. But I never did get to meet. I only got to meet one set of grandparents because they had massive heart attacks. So the quality of life is more important than the quantity of life. Mm-hmm. The quantity of athletes that I train, if I can train 20, if I can train 10, as long as I'm making a great influence in their life and making them better, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't have to train 1,000 athletes. I don't have to make $500,000 a year training athletes.
Yeah.
As long as my family is taken care of, I'm taken care of, my wife is taken care of, I have lived the life that I love to this point of being able to make changes in young men and women's lives. And God's blessed me with 27 years so far.
Yeah.
And I remember training in a room no bigger than this. I remember training in garages.
Yeah.
I started underground fitness in my brother's 2-car garage.
Love it. You'll appreciate this then.
What's
next door?
And I've learned. I've got a 5,000 square foot facility right now. But what I've learned is when me and my wife start this and we start looking at buildings, we start looking, I'm going to drop down from 10 racks to 3.
Yeah.
But the quality of the training is getting better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have more equipment scientifically to take the guessing out.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to recover you. I'm going to be able to mentally build you. I'm going to be able to nutritionally get you on your feet. I'm going to be able to give you that accountability.
Yeah.
We've got to get back to, and if anybody can ever send text messages, send email anybody, if you can get me back to being able to understand how to get the kids' mentality back to the way it was when we played.
Yeah.
People give up too soon. People quit too fast. When it gets tough, let's get stronger.
Yeah.
When it gets tough now, we get weaker. Yeah. We want to find a smaller or a shorter path. There is no short path to success. There is no fast path to success. Anytime that I've opened a door and it was a fast door, I've got it slammed in my face. But God has put me back on the right path and opened up doors here, opened up doors there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, we've been blessed with so much in this area that to continue to keep being blessed, we have to grow as a community. We have to grow as individuals, and we have to all work together. Yeah. I don't understand why as a community we can't all sit under one roof and work together. Yeah. Because me and you work together, and our philosophies and Hidden are probably different. But it was successful for you. It was successful for me.
Right.
Me and Kent's philosophies on pitching is probably different because I was a thrower. You didn't know if it was going over the backstop, hit the backstop, or hit the mitt. But I could throw the heck out of the ball. I was blessed with a good enough arm to have velocity. But I didn't. Pitching was not me.
Yeah.
But I went to a small school. I had to. I had to throw.
Yeah.
I was a thrower. My philosophy with weightlifting and strength and conditioning is not with a lot of these other younger kids that's coming up that's doing it.
Yeah.
I believe in lifting to what you need.
Yeah.
If it's not related to the sport, then I don't need to do it in the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you come in there and you blow force out of the water and you're slow as molasses, I got to work on velocity. So you can't do velocity slow.
Yeah.
You can't pitch slow.
Yeah.
If you come in there and you blow velocity out of the water and you're force deficient, then I got to add weight on you. I got to get that weight. But I'm just not going to throw. I don't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. When have you ever been to any baseball thing that they run these kids through all this that had a weight bench or a squat rack?
None.
I've worked some Nike camps. I've worked some Adidas camps. I've worked a couple of camps when I was first getting into the business, just getting my name out there. I don't remember ever going to a combine or a rivals or anything like that, and there'd be a weight bench or a squat rack.
Yeah.
Now in the combine they do.
Right.
But guess what? You're 21, 22, 23 years old going to a combine. You've already mastered the high school level. You've mastered the college level at some degree. So your body's mature, your body's ready to go.
Yeah.
So now we got it.
Yeah.
But you're still growing at a high school level. You're still growing at a college level. You mastered it once you get past that level.
Yeah.
My job is to make middle school kids, I usually start them around 10 years old because I want to get them coordinated.
Yeah.
I want to build that foundation of the floor. You don't start building a house from the roof. You start building a house from the foundation.
Yep. Jump
Ropes, bands, broad jumps. I tell kids to do broad jumps in high school, and they look at me like, what's a broad jump?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, wait, you don't do that no more? It's low-level plyometrics. That's what we do. That's what gets you the stability, the balance. But I take a little kid and turn them into a younger kid. Then from the middle school to the high school, I take a younger kid and turn them into a younger adult.
Yeah.
Then when we go to the college level, we take them younger kids, younger adults, and we turn them into men and women.
Mm-hmm.
We progress them along the way. Somewhere there's a disconnect in there, and we think that these kids back here at the high school level and the middle school level should already be men and women.
Right.
And it's not. They're not ready for that.
Yeah.
You're growing them up too fast, and that's when you was talking about anxiety.
Yeah.
You was talking about that. If a kid's afraid to swing a bat because he's afraid of what'll happen after he leaves the field, then that kid's never going to succeed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any of us that go to work and we're afraid when we leave work that when we come in the next day, the boss is going to yell at us, and if we did everything right, the boss is going to yell at us.
Yeah.
It don't happen that way.
Yeah.
You don't show up to work in your pajamas. You tool yourself to the right tools.
Yeah.
So let's tool these young athletes to the right tools. I don't care who you take them to. I don't care who you hitting, strength and conditioning. I don't care. But let's get them the proper equipment to have a great chance at success.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. So what was the big announcement? Was it about the
big announcement is that me and my wife are going to bring a new edge, new technology, new stuff to not only on my side athletes, on her side people.
Yeah.
People's tired of getting lied to. And I'm not saying everybody does it. They're, like I said, in coaching, in pro sports, in work, in anything, you've got good and bad.
Yeah.
But people scared. I mean, COVID woke us up.
Yeah.
It did. It really woke, because it woke me up. I mean, I was 12 hours away from a ventilator. 12 to 14 hours away from the ventilator.
That's crazy.
It woke me up. So here's the thing. Is my wife, when you come and talk to her, she going to do anything different than a doctor? Yes. She's going to give you options.
Yeah.
She's going to look at you in your face and tell you, once you write down what you eat, she's going to look and say, get rid of this, and this. And you're going to look at her and say, well, I don't know if I can get rid of sugar. I can't quit. Yeah, you can.
I like cocoa
I did.
pebbles.
I did. I quit it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to quit it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to quit drinking my energy drinks. C4 was good. It kept me up.
Yeah.
I mean, driving from Memphis at 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, staying all day, working with people, then coming back at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Cup of coffee and energy drink. Guess what? They're good.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to what you said. Do I want to watch my kids? And I know the man upstairs is going to take me when he wants me, and there ain't nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
But while I'm here, I can let you know what can help you sustain that life.
Yeah.
Do you want to live it miserably?
Yeah.
Or do you want to live it healthy?
Man, that's exciting. That is exciting. Do you guys have an idea demographically where you're trying to go? Are you trying to stay in McCracken County? Or are you?
She's going to do a bunch of stuff online. We're going to stay. Here's the thing. It's funny, and my daughter is 5'4", 12 years old. She runs right now almost 19 miles an hour. She jumps anywhere between 20 and 24 vertical. She's projected, and I know how projections are, but she's projected, going with my wife's family, she could be anywhere. She's got nieces at 6'2", 6'1", 6'2". If she continues to play volleyball, continues to run, 6'1", 6'2", vertical's going to keep going because Dad's going to make sure that happens.
Yeah, right.
Speed's going to go because Dad's going to make sure that happens. Do I want to take her to a place she can be more successful? Not saying that but here's the thing. My brother is one of the best, if not the best, volleyball coaches in this area.
Yeah.
He's trained almost every volleyball coach. Graves County's volleyball coach he's trained. She played under him.
Wow.
Callaway's County, McCracken County, all them. So where is she going to learn?
Yeah.
If she goes to high school. And I'm not saying all of them's got great programs. All of them's got winning programs.
Where's she go right now?
She goes to McCracken.
Okay.
She's a sixth grader. But I've looked at Franklin, Tennessee. I've looked at Louisville. I've looked at Lexington. I have a daughter right now who goes to University of Kentucky. She's going through. She don't know if she wants to be an MD, MO, or a PT.
Hey, all good options.
Hey, whatever she wants to be, she can be because she got the. And I have another daughter that is in Louisiana where I have 3 grandkids.
Oh wow!
I have 4, 3, and almost a year.
Oh man!
2 grandsons and a granddaughter.
Yeah.
So the options are unlimited.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start it here.
Yeah.
Because when we go in June and she walks across the stage, because she's always wanted to be a doctor. She's always stopped because between us we have 5 kids.
Yeah.
She's always had to stop because we've always wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So she's put her career on hold for us. Now it's time for us to put our careers on hold for her.
Yeah.
So she's finishing up this, and it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
She's 51. So we're doing this and going to school at a late age.
It's awesome though, man. I think, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what you guys put together and hopefully even be a part of it. I'd love to come and talk to her and because here's the thing, man. Like I said, I'm 35, but I know there's a lot of things I could do better. And, I just think that it's great to bring something like that's a little bit more outside the box. It really is. Just educating people on it, I think, is going to be fantastic.
And it's like everything else. you have different perspectives.
Yeah, right.
And it's always good to check the perspectives. But one thing about it is like the machine I went on. If you got that machine, it labels it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts it out there for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it even told me the medicines that they gave me in the hospital.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. What it is,
Body keeps
it
receipts.
is a CT scan
Yeah.
of your neurons. And it was just like he was talking about the other guy talking about positive and negative neurons. They map your body and they remember everything.
Yeah.
That's the reason why that I can change them. I'm not changing your body at the brain. I'm changing your body before it gets to the brain at the central nervous system.
Yeah.
Your central nervous system controls everything.
Yeah.
And if you can change it from the brain, it's like I tell a lot of athletes, why can't I move fast, coach? Why can't I move left or right? It's because when you're on the balls of your feet, you're athletic.
Yeah.
You're in a reactive mode.
Yeah.
When your heels touch, your butt falls back. When your butt falls back, them heels tell the mind to rest.
Yeah.
And for me to send a nervous signal from my heels to my brain and back to my heel, you're looking at 0.2, 0.3 of a second. In baseball, ball's by you.
Yeah.
The ball is, these kids nowadays, 120 exit velo.
Yeah.
That's you.
It's insane.
If you have any
insane.
hesitation and you don't have no
Yeah.
reaction, that's like everybody talks about false steps and all this and that. Get a kid reactive. I don't care if he takes a false step. Well, what is a bounce before the ball's thrown?
Yeah.
It's priming the central nervous system to move. It's a process. You're on the balls of your feet. You bounce up. As soon as you hit, you move. Well, I mean, is that not considered a false step? Because you're moving. No, you're priming the central nervous system to move, to be reactive.
That's right.
It's like if I go to hit you right now, you're automatically going to be reactive. You're going to throw your hand up.
Right.
That's what I want. I don't want you to think.
Yeah. I love it, man. So timeline. You said she's about to complete what she's doing.
She walks across the stage and gets her diploma in Florida on June 8th.
Oh wow! So it's close then.
Yes,
it is.
We're on the back end.
Dude, it's
of it.
exciting. It's exciting.
I'm proud of her because we finally stepped back and she's finally getting to do what she's always wanted. Doctor on the end of her name. She's been a paramedic. She's been worked in the office. Been an office manager for medical. Right now, she's a customer service manager for a big medical firm up towards Cincinnati. So I mean, she's always been in the medical fields.
Yeah. And
she's always been very, very smart at what she does. And now she gets to display.
That's awesome, man.
It is. I mean, I wish we could have did it earlier, but
hey,
our stubbornness.
No better time than now, baby.
No, our stubbornness and our willing to not ask for help.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to ask for everybody's help.
Yeah.
Give her a chance.
Yeah.
Give her. It's holistic medicine. A lot of people don't believe in it.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. But I think now it's swinging more towards that than ever.
It is.
It is. And I mean.
So what's have you guys? So and I think you might have said it earlier, but have y'all thought of a name? What people need to be looking out for?
But I know it's going to be.
And you don't have to disclose it right now if you don't want to.
She's got a B.
Yeah.
With like a bee and a butterfly.
Yeah.
It's Be Well.
Okay.
That's going to be her. Be Well Nutrition and Recovery. Be Well Nutrition, Recovery, and Performance.
Love it.
The recovery is going to be between both of us because
Yeah.
she's the one that looks at the body. She's the one that determines where the holes are just by looking at energy, your aura, and all that. And then I'll be the one to do the recovery or do the performance and help with the recovery. But we're gonna try to offer a lot of things. My certification in kinesiology. Kinesiology is manipulating the body through movement.
Yeah.
Chiropractic is manipulating the body through adjustment.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the 14 meridians. I'm going to do the muscle testing. I'm going to do a lot of that and be able to tell where and why and maybe what your pain is. But a lot of it deals up here.
Yeah.
That's the reason why a lot of people don't get susceptible to kinesiology or holistic stuff or chiropractic, is because you can only perform and believe what your mind will let you.
Yeah.
If you think all the time with that shoulder, man, my shoulder hurts. Man, my shoulder hurts.
Right.
It's gonna hurt. That's like my weighted ball program. Everybody goes, how do you know your weighted ball program is good? I said, because I'll tell you what, when I created it 5 years ago, I put myself through it. I didn't give it to the public.
Yeah.
I did the weighted ball program. I did the recovery program. I worked with, and I got his app for a long time with Armored Heat, and I created this program. I threw a baseball off the mound 85 miles an hour. And my arm did not hurt, and my arm, nothing. So if I can take, back then, a 46-year-old man, 47-year-old man, and throw 85, what can it do to a young kid that's just developing?
Yeah.
I mean, it works, but I'm not about how fast you can throw a weighted ball. I don't care about running guns. Who cares?
Yeah.
If I look at velocity, I'm looking at velocity with a baseball. That's what you throw.
Right.
I don't care how fast you can
Practical
throw
stuff.
I don't care how fast you can throw a 1 ounce ball, a 2 ounce ball.
Yeah.
I care how fast you can throw a 5.5?
Yeah.
5.5 ounce ball. That's what I care about.
Yeah.
How fast can you throw it? That's what I'm looking at. Take one big step behind and let it rip.
Yeah.
Because if you can do stuff at maximum velocity, you can gain speed.
Yeah.
And if you do it at maximum velocity, you also teach it to decelerate at maximum velocity.
Yeah.
So your velocity is coming up, deceleration's coming down. That's like, look up sports statistics.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your athletes, if you watch football or watch any of that, they don't get hurt on the acceleration. They get hurt on the deceleration.
Yeah.
Change of direction.
I know the shoulder injuries that I had when I was younger was deceleration injuries.
It is. We don't teach athletes how to properly decelerate.
Yeah.
I'm big on reverse throws.
Yeah.
But I have them on one knee, or I have them standing up, but I have them start here, go all the way through their windup, hesitate at the back, and come all the way back through it.
Yeah.
So I want the full range of motion. I just don't want you to start right here and just grab it and rip and throw.
Right.
Who cares? You don't throw from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a couple guys that have a whole process before they throw, and I love it. I mean, it can be a little tough sometimes for coming out of the bullpen, but I love the preparation for it. I love the confidence that it gives those boys on the mound.
It does, and I forgot him. Zach Ducant had a guy on his little baseball thing that he does every year. It's 4 or 5 to 7 guys come and talk. And he does. It's a baseball summit. It's what he calls it.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, I always buy it because I'm a big Zach guy.
Mm-hmm.
I always buy it, and I bought it. And he talked about you have to learn to teach a kid to be a starter, to be a middle reliever, and to be a closer. And your routine changes for each position that you throw at.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I've learned. I've always told. I was like, okay, what are you going to be? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Levin was one of the hardest one East to teach because he's always been a starter. Now at John A, he's coming out of the bullpen or middle relief. So I had to tell him, you got to learn to take that 15 to 30 to 15 minute warm up. And if you're a middle reliever, you got to cut it to 5 to 10.
Yeah, right.
And if you are a reliever and you're a closer, you got to learn to cut it 7 to 5.
Right.
You've got to learn what's going to get you loose the fastest, the best, and the safest.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think everybody's a starter coming out, you know.
Yes.
And then you just kind of fall into whatever role you're in on the team that you're on, you know.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think sometimes there's some psychological issues with understanding that, hey, I'm more valuable to this team as a reliever, as a closer, than I am as a starter, and embracing that, you know.
I think the worst thing that I've ever got hit on is I'm not a big foul pole guy.
Yeah.
I am not a big, and it depends on how you grew up, where you grew up. I am a big, okay, you just got done pitching. Third base line, second base. Give me 6 to 10, 110% sprints.
Yeah.
After you get done with that, give me a medicine ball, about 20 pounds. Give me 25 slams, 100% effort.
Yeah.
Go do your J-bands. You're done. And the only reason why I do that is because I have a rest in between them. But the reason why, and it's just in my mind the way that I've done this, and the reason why I do it this way is because you had a guy that worked with pitcher come from Heath. Real good. Pitch for the White Sox.
Oh, Webb. Yep.
The day that you had that the day that I come up there to Wren Lake and talked strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
The guy that you had to come in and teach the pitching part of it, that was
Oh man, I know. Yeah, I know.
He told me this is the way he does it, and this is the reason why. When you pitch in an anaerobic without oxygen, 5 to 7 second burst.
Yeah.
When you have them do those sprints from third to second, it's 5 to 7 seconds. They get about a 20-second rest, 5 to 7 seconds, about a 20-second rest.
Yeah.
You're putting them in the same energy system that they just got out of.
Yeah.
And you're teaching the body to recover fast.
Yeah.
Where there is no way on earth, I don't care who you got, I don't care if you got Carl Lewis running.
Yeah.
Can run foul pole to foul pole in 5 to 7 seconds.
Yeah, no, that would be yeah, and I agree with you. I like sprints afterwards too. We ran foul poles when I was a kid, you know, and
they run them. We run them when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I mean I still have our guys run them now, but it's really just for general conditioning. We do sprint work, that sort of stuff that I think is a lot more practical, you know.
Yes.
But I think the reason we make them run foul poles now is just for a general baseline conditioning, you know, making sure that they are staying in shape with the sprint work. You know, that's something that we have really tried to work into over the past couple of years, and you know, full recovery sprints and stuff like that. We've got a guy now that's doing it at Marshall as a class. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's great.
That's good.
It's great.
I wish every high school they could put in a budget.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a cheap budget, and I think every teacher deserves more money. But I think they need to put in a budget for a strength and conditioning specialist that goes in there, at least has a degree. Have the same qualifications for your strength coach that you have for your teachers.
Yeah.
Be certified. And be a certified that's recognized and accredited throughout the United States.
Yeah.
Because you're asking a teacher to be certified and have a master's degree because you want what's best for your children.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's do the same thing with the strength and conditioning part of the aspect of it. Because a lot of your schools in Lexington and Louisville is hiring these guys, in which I know they got more money because they're bigger areas, more state funded, but have more money to pay these guys.
Yeah.
There's some guys making $120,000, $130,000 a year, and their only job is strength and conditioning for football, track, and baseball.
That's crazy.
But I mean,
but
they're winning.
Yeah.
And they're winning because they're keeping their best athletes on the field.
Yeah.
It's not because of that salary they're paying that strength and conditioning coach. It's because they don't have the soft tissue issues. They don't have the ACL issues. They don't have the shoulder issues. They don't have the elbow issues.
Yeah.
Because you got a guy that's doing the same thing on a college level, doing it on a high school level.
Yeah.
So they're getting trained to their age, but they're also getting trained to the specific. They're getting trained to actual specific things that they're doing on the floor.
That's right.
Or on the field. It's specific to theirs. It's sports specific training.
Yeah.
And the guy knows how they translate to each other.
Yeah.
Because that's like a guy will call me. One of my athletes will call me and say, "Hey, weather's great. I got a chance to get some swings in. Can I go here? And I'll come with you later in the week because it's supposed to rain." I said, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I can't mimic anywhere in the gym a swing and a ball coming at him at a certain velocity. Right. I can't mimic it. I can get back there in the cage all day long. That's not real pitching.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. Well, hey, listen, I'm excited for you and your wife in the new venture. I'm thankful for the relationship that I've got with you, and I look forward to seeing what's in store for you, man. That's exciting, and I know that's something that you have really wanted to do for a couple years, and I think that your wife taking that route and you guys being able to do that together, man. That's awesome, and I'm excited, and I think I'd love to have you guys back on after y'all get everything going and she gets graduated up, and we can get you guys both back in here.
Because I know there's a lot more we can talk about.
Oh shoot, dude! Hey, I knew. Whenever I told you, I was like, I don't know. It's usually about an hour, but you just never know.
Because I don't even know if we talked about anything we wrote down.
We actually did. I told you.
Okay.
I told you it's organic, man. So
yes.
It's good. But hey, I'm proud of you, man.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
going.